Step 1. Identify your intention verbally and in writing, and develop a deep yearning for it. When you create a great longing for the experience of a peaceful family, everything will begin to happen to fulfill this yearning spontaneously and naturally. Rather than praying to a saint or God for a miracle, pray for the miracle of the inner awakening, which will never leave you. Step 2. Intend for all of your relatives what you intend for yourself. When anyone criticizes, judges, acts angry, expresses hatred, or finds fault with you, they're not at peace with themselves. Want this peace for them even more than you desire it for yourself. Let me say that again. Want this peace for them even more than you desire it for yourself. This doesn't require words or actions on your part. Simply picture the people in your family with whom you're not at peace and feel the peace you crave for them. Your inner speech will change, and you'll begin to experience the peaceful authenticity of both your beings. Step 3. Be the peace you're seeking from others. If peace is missing in your relationships with your family, it means that you have a place within you that's occupied by non-peace. Say a friendly hello to the non-peace and then let it go. You're sending a peaceful feeling to the non-peace feeling. The lower energies you're experiencing will be strengthened by your peaceful hi or hello and eventually vanish as the divine grows within you. The way to this peace is through any form of quiet and meditation that works for you. Even if it's only a 2-minute respite during which time you're silent, concentrate on the name of the divine or repeat the sound of ah as an inner mantra. Step 4. Match up with the 7 faces of intention. If you've forgotten what the universal mind of intention looks like, it's creative, kind, loving, beautiful, always expanding, endlessly abundant, and receptive to all of life. This kind of spiritual energy will be transformative, not only for you, but also for your relatives. Your intention to be in peaceful relationships is now taking form, first in your mind, then in your heart, and ultimately, it will materialize. Step 5. Review all of the obstacles that have been erected on your path to familial peace. Listen to any inner dialogue that focuses on your resentment of others' expectations for you. Remind yourself that when you think about what you resent, you act upon what you think about, while simultaneously attracting more of it to yourself. Examine your energy field for your tendency to react to lower energies with more of the same, and give your ego a reminder that you'll no longer opt to be offended or need to be right in these relationships. Step 6. Act as if. Begin the process of acting as if what you intend to manifest is already true. See everyone in your family in the love and light that is their true identity. When someone asked Baba Muktananda, a great saint in India, "Baba, what do you see when you look at me?" Baba said, "I see the light in you." And the person responded, "How can that be, Baba? I am an angry person. I am terrible. You must see all of that." Baba said, "No, I see the light." This story is told by Guru Mai in a wonderful book called Kindle My Heart. So see the light in those others and treat them as if that's all you see. Step 7. Detach from the outcome. As long as you remain connected to intention and radiate outward the high energy, you've achieved your peace. It's not your place or your purpose to make everyone else in your family think, feel, and believe as you do. The likelihood is great that you'll see dramatic changes in your relatives as you teach them with your own persona how you intend to be treated. But if they don't change, and if they continue their non-peaceful ways, let go of your need to see them transformed. By letting go, you guarantee your own peace, and you dramatically increase the odds of helping others to do the same. Step 8. Affirm, "I attract only peace into my life." Say it over and over again. I attract only peace into my life. I say this silently to myself as an absolute truth with unbending intent on my part, and it works for me almost all the time. People respond to me with smiles, acknowledgments, friendly gestures, and kind greetings all day long. I also remind myself of the cogent observation from A Course in Miracles when I feel other than peaceful in any given moment with my family. They say in A Course in Miracles, I can choose peace rather than this. Step 9. Hold no grudges and practice forgiveness. The key to having peace in all of your family relationships is forgiveness. All of your relatives are simply doing what they've been taught to do over a lifetime, and the lifetimes of many of their ancestors. Shower them with understanding and forgiveness from your heart. And finally, step 10, as always, be in a state of gratitude. Rather than being in a state of non-peace concerning any family members, say a prayer of gratitude for their presence in your life and all that they have come to teach you. These are the 10 steps that you can practice each day as you work toward the absolute knowing that this intention will manifest for you. Remind yourself on a daily basis that you can never remedy a bad relationship by condemning it. Consider the possibility of totally eradicating your personal history from your consciousness and simply living completely in the present moment. You will find a new freedom as you realize that you aren't relying on the way things used to be to define your life today. Get rid of all of the labels that you've placed on yourself about all of the things that you are, and just erase your past and try to go out into this day with no past at all, just now. Slow yourself down with moments of contemplative silence. That is, do nothing. In these moments, appreciate your body and all of your physical universe. Notice the inner waves of pleasure that you experience as you go to silence. Know that you are a soul with a body, rather than a body with a soul. Remember that your soul cannot be measured or observed with the tools that we use to view the material world. That's a different world in there, that invisible divine world. And that's the world you want to connect to transform your life. You are a soul with a body, rather than a body with a soul. Release the idea that a failed relationship makes you a failure. There are no failed relationships. Every person who enters and exits your life does so in a mutual sharing of life's divine lessons. All of us have people who come into our life for a short time, and some have longer roles to play. There's no failure in there. It's all in divine order. We have who we have in our life in order to help us to create the world that we showed up here to fulfill our heroic mission. Know that you are an eternal and purposeful being. Be secure and serene with no need for compliments or reassurances that you are, in one way or another, more special or distinct from others. We are all children of God, no favorites, no outcasts, all one. This is a una-verse, one-verse song. We're all one. We don't need to think of ourselves as special, because the moment we do, we make someone else not special. And all of us, if we're all special, we don't need a word like special to define us. You don't need your ego here. You're working at your higher self, which says you are a creation, an extension of God. Make love the focus of your life. When this is the case, you will have no expectations about how others should respond to your acts of love. Your higher self invites you to serve and give without any anticipation of reward. Take full responsibility for all of the events in your life. When you blame something outside of yourself for the circumstances you're experiencing, you give control of your life to that outer phenomenon. When you release blame and go within, you will always find what you need. Trust your intuition. Quietly affirm that you will define your own reality from now on, and that your definition will be based on your own inner wisdom. I always think of your intuition like this. If prayer is you talking to God, then your intuition is God talking to you. Trust it, and you won't go wrong. Stop paying so much attention to the superficial pursuits of your life. Learn to tune within and know higher levels of awareness. You need to become acquainted with this part of yourself and believe in the energy of the loving presence that is always a part of you. Release the false idea that you need to prove to anyone that you have acquired the necessary credentials to be considered a success. Success is not measured by externals. It comes from within. Success is an inside job. You don't have to have it validated by anything or anyone outside of yourself. Remind yourself that every negative thought that you have about another is something you are thinking about yourself. Replace these negative thoughts with positive ones, and your self-esteem and your self-worth will grow accordingly. Be aware of the fact that everyone who comes into your life in any capacity is valuable. The petty tyrants are just as divine as those who provide you with encouragement and support. Those whom we judge to be unfortunate or evil can teach us our greatest lessons. Petty tyrants may appear to us as petty and tyrannical, but they may be divine masters just disguised as petty tyrants to teach you something that you didn't know you had to learn. Know that you don't really have to do your best at everything you do. Your best leaves no room for improvement. You are better off to simply do and enjoy and be willing to learn, rather than putting this standard of having to do your best at everything that you do, today or any day. Just do. One of the nicest things about the universe is that it pays the highest interest rate of any bank on our planet. The universe gives 20 to 25% interest. If you send out $1,000 worth of love, you get back about $1,300 every time. You get your 1,000 back just to prove that what goes around comes around. And then you get a bonus. And the bonus is there just to remind you, this is the way to behave toward everyone. When you give something out into the universe, you get it back. In the simplest form, if somebody's walking down the street with a scowl on their face and you say, "Good morning, how are you this morning? Here's a newspaper for you," or whatever it is, and you just say something pleasant and loving and nice, you will see something pleasant and nice come back to you most of the time. If you don't, then that's a test. That's not a, "See, I told you it's not right." That's just your test. Most of the time, it will come back to you. A smile, you'll see, and you will feel better. Now, in the simplest form, that's what it is. That even applies to financial things. I remember a few years ago, my secretary was just all concerned about her income taxes, and she owed $500 more on her taxes, and it was the 14th of April. And she didn't know what she was going to do, and she didn't want to have to take out a loan and all of this. And I said, "Look, you've done so many great things for me this year. Here's $500. I'll just pay those taxes. I don't have any problem with it. I'll pay it. It won't affect me one way or the other." It wasn't really any great big gesture or magnanimous thing for me to do. It was just what seemed to be the right thing to do. The next day in the mail comes a check for $570 from Greece for an article that I had written for Family Circle magazine like 5 years before. It had been held up in some transaction in Greece, and there it was. The $500 back plus $70 as a bonus. That principle applies all the time for me in my life, I have found. And I didn't know that 10 years ago. I didn't know that if you give it away, it's like it's that circuitous nature of how each cell works. Remember the electrons that are circling around? They all just keep coming back. Everything just keeps coming back. And it works. And we are, when you think of an endless universe, we're still just tiny little cells. The same principle is working. But getting people who have been conditioned to believe that it's the bottom line and it's profits, and if I don't see it, then I don't believe it. And so in this technological, externally oriented, fast-paced kind of hectic society that we have created, we tend to forget some basic human principles. I tell people over and over again, your opinions are trivial. The opinions that you have about all the things and all the most profound problems in the world are essentially trivial, and they make almost no difference what your opinion is. It's your commitment to it that really makes all the difference in the world. You take the most profound problem in the world and understand that you're trivializing it by having an opinion about it, and you take the tiniest, most insignificant problem in the world, and if you have a commitment to doing something about it, that's the most profound thing you can do. We just talked briefly about something else that I think is very important, and that is the importance of modeling, or being an example. The highest place you can get to is be the person who whatever it is that comes out of your mouth is what is. And that's the purest form of sanity there is. That's the highest place you can get to, where whatever you say is what you follow through on. And that precludes maybe exaggerating for making a point or something like that. When you let something come out of your mouth, or when you behave in a certain way, that it is consistent always with the beliefs that you have. You're going to exaggerate something that doesn't need to be exaggerated. And you stop yourself. This is the place I'm at now in my life, where I'm trying to do this more and more, working at this, where I might have just exaggerated by a number or something. 2 million books were sold last week instead of 150,000 or whatever it is. And stop yourself. Like the need to distort your reality. Where does that come from? Why do you need to do that? No one cares. It doesn't make any difference. So that when you're doing that, usually if you're lying in any way, you know when you're doing it that it's a distortion. And after a while, if you distort enough, it becomes a habit. and correcting that habit and really going to work on that, whether you call it integrity or whether you call it the ability to live by example. And being a model, like with your children, it's so important to live what it is that you say rather than to be something different for them or try to pretend that you're something different than you are. I don't just get up in front of an audience, or I don't just sit down and write about something that's nice for you, but I don't have to do that. I am it. And what I've written in Gifts from Icus and The Sky's the Limit, particularly in the Raising Children book, is what I am living each day of my life. Getting yourself to that point, that important integrity point, where what comes out of you is exactly what is in the world, and that if you're going to try to be persuasive or be a leader or make a difference in the world, then you do that by modeling, by providing an example up and down the line. And anytime you detract from that example, then you are not being authentic. And being authentic is a part of being enlightened, and it's very important to have that concept down cold. You can't be cheating on your income tax and punishing your children for being dishonest and be an authentic, enlightened person at the same time. You can't be blowing cigarettes in their face and telling them about the evils of addiction and be an enlightened, authentic person. Being peaceful is what your higher self wants. It's what transforming your life is all about. And any thought or any belief that you have that keeps you from peace in your life is one you want to discard, no matter how long you've had it or how much you've cherished it or what the tradition is in your family or in your country. If it doesn't bring you peace, then you don't need it. Judge not. If you see someone who is very different from you in physical appearance or in age or in economic status, use your mind to send them love rather than a judgmental thought. We have so many of those judgmental thoughts when we see someone who is older, when we see someone who is younger, when we see someone who has a different custom than we have, when we see someone who wears different jewelry or has body decorations or something that we don't go along with. When you see someone like that today, whoever they may be, whether it's someone who is begging on the street or whether it's someone who is wearing a certain kind of clothes or acting in a certain way as you're driving, try not judging them and just seeing the unfolding of God in them. Try sending them love rather than judgment. Begin to change the vocabulary you use to describe yourself and your expectations. Instead of saying maybe, if I'm lucky, or perhaps, and one never knows, use words and phrases such as absolutely, certainly, and I know I can. When you use these kinds of words that reflect an absence of doubt, you're going to begin to conduct your life in the very same way. Watch out for those things that sort of communicate to others and to yourself that you don't really have within you the capacity to manifest what you want for yourself in your life. You cannot have a better past, so abandon that idea right now. You did what you knew how to do given the circumstances of your life. Instead of indulging in regrets, let your thoughts remain on love and let your actions stem from that love. The past is over, and you did what you knew how to do, and you no longer are that person. So don't fill yourself with blame and angst about what you might have done in the past. Learn from it and know that you are a new soul today. Learn from it and know that you are a new human being today. Let go of all the beliefs that convince you of your inadequacies and shortcomings. Clean out that closet of worn-out loyalties to what you can and cannot do. Just open yourself up right now in this moment. Just be. Spend a day silently reciting the word love whenever you encounter another human being. This practice has such a positive effect that you may choose to use it as a silent background mantra throughout your day. Just repeat over and over inwardly, love, 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 and just say it. If you say it 100 times, you're going to begin to feel the expression emanating and radiating outward from yourself. Make an attempt to shift your career objectives from self-absorption to a calling. Use your talents and your special interests to fulfill your service with your calling. Your life work will take on a dramatic shift toward abundance, and you're going to begin to feel that you are on purpose. You have a calling. You are here for a heroic mission. Think of everything that you do in this day as a part of that calling, and you'll begin to rid yourself of some of the extraneous kinds of things and judgments that you have about your life. Be still and know. These 4 words will help you get past striving and help you get to know the bliss of being here now. When you allow yourself to be still, you will understand the futility of constant striving or chasing after more. Keep those 4 words in mind today. Be still and know. Notice the acts of kindness that other people do rather than their wrongdoing. We're all good and decent and loving souls, but we occasionally get lost. When you can focus on the good in another and hold that in your mind, you're acting from your higher self. And this is called transforming your life. Spend special moments in awe of the miracle that life truly is. Awe is the loving appreciation for God's work in the presence of the divine intelligence. Be in awe.